fellow gardeners. It is the end of July and I thought I'd do another tour just to let you see the changes that have happened over this past month in my garden with all of the heat and the humidity. So starting again over here with my pots that I have here. I named this video Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and my doggy. This pot here has now become my favorite pot. This is by far my favorite plant. It has done so well. This is one of the grande plants from Proven Winners. This is the fan flower. This has several different colors. It's got the purple, it's got pink, it's got white, and I will probably buy one of each next spring because it has just done so well. It's gone, you know, it's drooped over down here through the pot and then back on the other side. Just beautiful and so easy. You don't have to fertilize it. You know, I water once a day. There's no deadheading. Beautiful, beautiful plant. Low maintenance. By far my favorite this summer. Angelonia is still doing pretty good, and as you can tell, the Zinnias is, I think the Zinnia and the fanflower are kind of fighting over to see who's gonna win and get the highest growth there. But I love Zinnias in pots, and they always do really well. Next to it is a dahlia that's trying to bloom. Doesn't look all that great, but it should produce, I'm hoping, a really pretty purple flower here soon. Back over here is my Gafrina pot, and as you can tell, the flowers are looking pretty worn. It's grown just huge. But yeah, the flowers are looking in the pot here, they're not looking near as good as what they do in the landscape. Moving over to my hydrangea bed. It's my hydrangea in rose bed. This hydrangea I planted this fall will be 3 years. So it's really grown this year. You know, the flowers, if you look at this flower, it's just huge. And you know, the stems with the wind and the storms, you know, they can't they can't hold it, and so it's kind of flopping over, but it's still really pretty. This does get full sun, and so I do get them burnt, but I love them, and so I will keep planting these hydrangeas here, and we actually have this cover that we created that does help a little bit here. The two hydrangeas back in the back are the new panicle limelights from Proven Winners. They're supposed to have a sturdier stem and keep more upright. Now I just planted these this past fall, so it'll be, you know, next summer we will really be able to tell the difference on how well they do. But flowers are beautiful, and it's about time for these roses to be cut back yet again, which I'm going to do. I'm going to be doing a lot of cleanup here soon. We were on vacation and I just got back, and so there's a lot of maintenance that I need to take care of on these plants. Still have the morning glories down here. Petunias here, the royal violet petunia, still looking really pretty, but as you can tell, it's starting to get a hole in the middle here. They are getting quite leggy, as you can tell here. So I am going to be cutting these back quite a bit over the next few days and see if we can get energy elsewhere and really get these things blooming for the rest of the season. The petunia's back to bubblegum. I kind of joked in my first couple videos because nothing really does very well back there, and I figured, you know, I'm gonna plant a Super Petunia Vista bubblegum and just see what it does, and it's really taken off and doing well. So you just can't beat this flower. It's beautiful. This was my favorite pot. I still like this pot. I only had one person come over and water while we were gone, and you can really tell just what a difference that made. This is the yellow flambe, which is just such a unique, cool flower, but this pot was really, really dry, and I could definitely tell when I got back that this wasn't quite the same. But sweet potato vine, and those were the, those are the daisies from Proven Winners. Can't remember exactly the name of them, but you know, there are still some flowers on it, so not too horribly bad. It's our mint here. This bed over here, again, just not looking the same as what it was. Looking a little bit tired, but still a lot of marigold blooms. You can tell that really was surprised by the Super Petunia Vistas down here. Actually, this isn't a Super Petunia Vista. This is the Picasso and Purple Super Petunia, and they really kind of just dried up. I don't know what exactly happened here, but not looking all that great. I'm gonna come back and really cut back a lot of these. Lemon coral sedum is still doing good, but even the euphorbia not doing all that great. So anyway, looking kind of tired. Moving over to more petunias. This is the Super Petunia Vista bubblegum again in a pot. It's really starting to fill out, but as you'll see throughout my petunias, they are really getting eaten by budworms. And that's one thing with me being on vacation. I typically spray once a week and missed a spray, and they have come. This pot actually is not so bad, but other pots that you'll see not doing too well. Again, these are just getting leggy. Oh, I can just pull it out. So I'll come in through here and cut these back by, they say, about 20% or so. So I'll come in and cut these back about 20%. Fertilize them really, really good, and you know, it'll take a couple weeks, but these will flush back out. This pot, just same thing. Super Petunia Bordeaux. They're just kind of looking a little bit tired, and you can't blame them in this 100-degree weather and this humidity, but look at this. It's just not great. Not great. And the snowdrift is still pushing out a lot of blooms, but as you can tell, it's not the same. Still pretty. See all the ones that need to come in here and kind of deadhead, but I'm gonna cut all this back. This bed over here in the corner, I had, from my first couple videos, you could see that there was the majority of it was cosmos, and a storm came that produced over 100-mile-an-hour winds, and it just ripped through the cosmos. And so these zinnias are from seed, and the cosmos were behind them, so I was able to keep the zinnias, but I pulled out the cosmos and just kind of threw some things in here that I had in pots that I was kind of sick and tired of watering. Just got some Gara. We have some sedum. I planted a cat's pajamas. Goodness, I can't think of the name. Cat's pajamas. It's not a salvia. I'll put the name up there. These are the proven winners. Sunflowers, Suncredibles, the Wicked Witch Coleus. But again, I had these on pot. I had these in pots that were in my patio, and I just kind of planted them in here to put something in here until this fall when I kind of spruce up this area. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet in here, but you can see right here. These are cosmos coming back. Things are vigorous. I did keep a couple back over in the corner. I kept a couple, and I cut them all the way back, and they are starting to produce flowers again. So, but yeah, that was a good learning experience for me. I had grown those cosmos, and I had no idea that they would reach to be about 7 feet tall, and they just were pretty much destroyed. So it'll be fun this fall to kind of come in here and figure out what exactly I want to do with this bed. I've got a kind of a clean slate, so that will be neat. So this is still my least favorite bed. I really can't figure out what in the world I'm going to do here in the future, but planted a bunch of zinnias, and I love my zinnias. With all of the wind and the storms, we've lost some zinnias, but pretty much just have some zinnias. I ordered some Lantana from Proven Winners that I'll be putting in through here, which actually will for the rest of the summer, and in the heat, the Lantana loves it, and it will thrive for the last few months. This is finally starting to flower. This is the purple Lantana from Proven Winners. But yeah, so again, not exactly sure, but it is fun to be able to come out here and cut some of the zinnias and put them in a vase inside. I just think zinnias are so pretty. The brown-eyed Susans have bloomed, and they're beautiful, and I love them up against this purple tree that I have absolutely no idea what exactly it is. And I think that I'm probably going to take some out and plant them over in this other bed this fall. So, pretty flower. I truly just can't get over this angelonia. It is every bit of 2.5 to 3 feet wide, and you know, I try to fertilize this every week to 10 days, and this is one thing that I have learned. And you know, I haven't said too much about my experience with gardening because I don't have a whole lot of experience with gardening. I read a lot, and I read a lot about what other people do, and I had read where, you know, somebody was fertilizing like every month to 2 months their angelonia, and continued to read that somebody, you know, fertilizes it quite often, every week or so. So I can tell you from my experience that, yeah, it absolutely benefits from a weekly fertilizer. It's beautiful. The yellow chiffon, or I think they're double chiffon, Super Bells, just not doing all that great. They did beautifully before it just got so hot. But honestly, with this growing the size that it is, I'm probably just going to cut these all the way back. I've never really had success with the super bells. I don't know if it's the humidity or just what. They're pretty during the not so hot times, but once it gets, you know, close to 100 degrees, this is what happens. Wygelia is finally growing, and the crepe myrtles are blooming. Always so pretty. Over here, it's been such a pretty petunia and has really done so well, but it is just getting eaten alive, and I really need to cut it back. So I'm going to be cutting this way back. Lots of more zinnias, and this is the Rose of Sharon that's trying to sneak through these zinnias. So we'll have more of the Rose of Sharon next year, not all of these zinnias. But man, I love the zinnias. I mean, just look at this. Is just kind of a cute little miniature one that's maybe, you know, 1.5 inches. You got that one. It's beautiful pink, just a little bit bigger. And then you have these beautiful big orange ones that are at least 3 inches. And then these purple over here, which are just even bigger than these. So zinnias are just fun, and I know I've said it on every video that I've done so far, but you know, these truly will bloom all the way until frost hits. So my 9 bark is still blooming beautifully. This Gomphrena, so if you can look at this Gomphrena in comparison to what's in my pot, big difference. It's just beautiful. I have the Gomphrena kind of outlining the wall here. Love the beautiful kind of the leaf on this crepe myrtle, just being a darker, kind of almost purplishly leaf with the burgundy flowers. So pretty. I do have down there the lime barberry, which I love barberries. I mean, it's so neat the color, the different colors from the burgundies to the oranges to the, you know, the lime. You can plop them in somewhere and get such contrast. And oh wow, look at my dead zinnia back there. Well, there you go. There is a dead zinnia, well, at least part of it anyway. So that's been happening a lot with this wind, especially after that first storm, having to kind of taking a little bit more work to keep these things up and sturdy. Back through here is the spider flower, which this is an annual, and I had planted 3 back here, and it's doing really good. I love it. It's kind of overtaking some of the zinnias back there, but still super pretty. More Gomphrena, and this is the Agastaki. I was thinking it was Agastachi, but it's Agastaki, or Agastaki. And I love this plant. I didn't know how it was going to do with the humidity. But it's doing super well. The higher one here is the one that I planted actually in the fall, and it's come back and done beautifully. There's actually one here, a little bit lower, one back there, which is not probably doing all that great because it's not getting the sun because of the zinnias, and then one back here. So next summer these will really fill out, be probably what you think, about 3 feet or so. I love the height and the color that these give. We did finally pull out. We had that dead shrub back here, and we finally pulled it out, and I wanted to find something that was a little bit different than just a normal shrub. And I do love grasses. We actually, when we moved into the house, there were several big grasses throughout here, and we ended up getting rid of all of them. But I love the little flower, and it kind of, this one, if you can tell, has a little bit of purple in it. And I kind of like that to go along with the purple 9 bark. But that'll fill out to be, you know, good 3-4 feet tall, and it'll spread to be about 3 feet wide. So I think that's a good addition. Here, the yarrow is pretty much all died back, and I need to get in here and really clean this out. And there's a possibility that getting closer to fall we'll get more blooms with this. Back through here is just a bunch of the angelonia with the sun-credible sunflowers here. Of course, more zinnias. I love the angelonia. This wasn't doing so well, and I started fertilizing it, and it's really starting to, leaves are turning more green, producing more flowers. It's starting to look a whole lot better. Got a bunch of the Russian sage in the back and my butterfly bush. So, you know, I am already trying to plan out how I'm going to rearrange things in this bed. Back in the back, which I don't know if you can see, there is a Tangelo, I believe, barberry, which is such a cool barberry. It's kind of, can you see it? It's kind of burgundy and orange and green, and that hasn't grown at all because I planted it in the completely wrong place. And so it'll be fun to kind of move the butterfly bush around and that around, and you know, there's a bunch of flowers which are beautiful in here, but we need a little bit of cohesiveness, which is always fun to be able to plan and think of what you're going to do for the following summer. Moving along over here, just a lot more of the Russian sage with some beautiful barberry, more angelonia, the cone flowers, which I definitely will take out next year and put them in the cottage garden. Threw in some lantana here, which is really starting to fill out and do well. The cottage garden is starting to, still got a lot of pretty flowers, but the cone flowers, as you can tell, are dying back. This is a Cosmo. This is one plant, and I planted these from seeds, and it's been really pretty, but I won't ever do this again right here just because it's taken up so much room. I've had to cut it back. As you can kind of tell in the back, it's just not ideal. I love the zinnias in the back. The liatris is not blooming anymore, so we've got the spent blooms on there. These cone flowers are pretty much, for the most part, finished blooming. We do have a few more blooms down here. So they still are providing some color. Happy that the zinnias will continue to bloom and produce color. Some daylilies here that have been blooming. The veronica, this is the second flush of the veronica after I've cut it back. Down behind that is some lobelia. I think it's dark towers, and I love this. This is a perennial, and I tried to find this. I actually kept calling my garden center to see when they'd get it, and I don't believe they ever got any in this summer. So, and kind of disappointed because I wanted to put some back in that corner over there to kind of fill in that gap, but really pretty flower. Throughout here I just have a bunch of impatiens, more zinnias, some vinca. There are definitely some of the plants that are doing pretty well. The zinnias just, I mean, these are more of the miniature zinnias down here. You know, I love the zinnias because, again, they'll produce the flowers. The vinca and the impatiens will do really, really well through this heat. Gomphrena is still hanging in there. Love my hydrangea back here, and cosmos. Hey, more cosmos. Do you see how large these cosmos are? I mean, my word, what is that, like at least 8 feet, you think? So I don't mind the cosmos kind of back in front of the window. You know, they've been quite pretty, but they are just, wow, just so big. More zinnias. Got a little spider plant back in the back. There's a dahlia hybrid back, more of the purple flower back here. And I have ordered some Petunia vistas to kind of add in through here to give it some more color throughout the season. What are you doing? Come on. But it's getting hot, so you go to your garden center, and with, you know, there's no annuals anywhere here. You can't get anything. Everything's pretty much dead because of the heat. And this is my pour pot, the black petunias that have been so beautiful, and they have gotten eaten alive. I mean, look at how awful this is. So not only do I need to just completely cut them back, talking about leggy, just awful, but I mean, they have just gotten eaten so badly. And so I will be cutting these back. And I will do a video after I do all the cleanup. I'm not going to be able to do it until this weekend due to work, but I will definitely do a kind of before and after of what this looks like. Don't want to end on this note, so this is the silver, move over here. This is the Silver Falls dichondra here, and that is just beautiful. I love how it's grown, and it's really, really done well in this plant. I had to take out, I had some marigolds in here, and they were pretty much dead when I got back from vacation, so I pulled them out. But this purple heart is doing really, really well, and I just love the dichondra spilling out of the pot. I think it's so pretty. Thanks very much for joining me again for my garden tour here at the end of July. Hope to have another video out here soon. Have a great week.